For this week's quilt story, I'm with my lovely friend Karen Lewis and we're talking fabric, friendship and how to really enjoy the process when you start quilt making.
Somebody was at home and they wanted to start quilting and they just didn't know where to go. I would say just go for it, just literally go for it. So I did my first quilt and I did it because I was seeing all these other quilts on the internet and I thought, oh, I want to do this, I want to have a go at this. And maybe it's my personality that I don't care how it's going to end up when I first start, so I'm more interested in having a go in the process than necessarily the final outcome. And so when I started that first quilt, I didn't have a rotary cutter. I don't think I even had a cutting board, cutting mat. I wasn't trying to do anything complicated. I had rows of squares and some of them lined up, some of them didn't quite. And I just wanted to incorporate everything that I enjoyed about sewing. And I just wanted to sew strips of fabrics together and see how they looked. It's funny because whilst I'm a mathematician, you'd think and there's certain things I like to be orderly in my life, but that doesn't really transfer across to quilting at all. It's almost like, forget all that, that's one side of me, and then the quilting's completely different. And I know there's lots of people who don't like when the points don't match and if something's a little bit out, but I quite like that. I think it gives it a added interest because your eye moves around to the differences in something. If everything's all the same, then your eye doesn't capture things quite as well. It's all about mindfulness, isn't it, and repeating processes and letting your hands take the art form and have fun. To me, if you want something to be perfect, then get a machine to do it.
Could you imagine life without quilting?
Not at all. Not at all. I just, it's every day, isn't it? It's every second of every day. It's the passion for the fabric that really drives me, and putting it all together and feeling it, and which is why I've always loved screen printed fabrics and I've always loved hand quilting. That first quilt that I did that's got all of that in it and different substrates like the linen, things that are tactile by nature that have that added tactile element, just drive me and make me interested every day. If I'm sewing or printing or any of those things, I'm immediately relaxed and happy. Anything else that you've been fighting or thinking about that's giving you a bit of anxiety just evaporates immediately. We go through so many walks of life doing things that aren't necessarily where we want to be. The number of people that come home from work on a Friday and are so relieved not to be there anymore, whereas I think most people in our community want on a Friday to go and be with the people that we've been communicating with all week. Look at all the retreats and events that we want to go to, and I think it's such a warm, engaging, supportive community that we always want to be there with each other.